Today, the U.S. Army is losing the battle for pubescent hearts and not yet fully developed minds. This is CheckPoint.
Welcome to CheckPoint, where we continue to be the flavor of the month.
Our legal team continues to remind you that you can't actually taste us through the screen. It is a figure of speech.
Still, try licking your phone. I'm chocolate and mint.
Our legal team is begging us to remind you to not lick your phone.
Graham is a delicious raspberry flavor. His seeds will get stuck in your teeth.
Our dental team would like to remind you this could be very frustrating.
Destiny 2 is back on the upswing with the arrival of its newest season, the Season of Arrivals. Season 11, as I will be calling it from now on, comes with a trippy new 3-person mini-raid called Prophecy, a pastel pink vaporwave dreamscape of bullets and hilarious sparrow accidents. By all accounts, Prophecy features creative new puzzles and some very interesting, if impenetrable, nuggets of lore, and a welcome dose of new PvE content. So naturally, speedrunners have figured out how to do Prophecy in just over 8 minutes, ensuring they can skip all of that stuff and get back to the real business of Destiny 2, worrying about the fall expansion.
Hey, you ever want to see Norman Reedus' normal penis? No? It's okay, I'm not going to tell him, because neither did Hideo Kojima. Well, I can't actually prove that, but Kojima didn't want you to see it. Death Stranding is out for PC now, meaning folks who get to poke around behind the walls of video games and see how they're all put together finally have the chance to clip through into the sub-ocean. One of the first things they did was swing the camera around front of Reedus' character Sam Bridges while he's taking a pee. He can pee in the game, it's a whole thing, because normally the game doesn't let you see the BB Porter's pee-pee. Sadly for everyone, I'm sure, there is no such Reedus Weenus, which can only mean that in the game's deep lore, yet another side effect of the cataclysmic Death Stranding is that pee is now stored in the hands.
The Sims community recently voted for its next stuff pack, and the winner is Nifty Knitting. You know, knitting, the thing you swore you'd learn how to do now that you had more time inside. Well, now you can simulate it in The Sims. On the surface, the pack seems pretty benign. Your sim can sit in a rocking chair and knit outfits, hats, and cozies for every goddamn thing in the house. And once you run out of space to cover in loose gauge weave, you can sell it all on Plopsy, which is the Sims version of Etsy and definitely not some other website that has by now already been registered and turned into a showcase for something erotic and unhygienic. But tell me the truth, Will Wright. A knitting sim will find a way to do harm to itself and others, correct? And I don't mean something boring like it'll piss itself to death and ruin the share house couch. I mean, it'll start knitting itself into the sweater and then other family members, and eventually the whole house will look like it's been yarn bombed. As mom tries to leave the house to cat burgle, she'll remain caught in the infinite fabric, and the woolen bolus will extrude from the house and distend itself towards the bus stop, consuming children and other small animals, all while the knitter knits faster and furiouser, using every last simulated strand of string in the house to feed the ever-expanding Angora abomination! What was I talking about? Right, tickets for The Skeen are selling now, coming soon to a theater near you.
You doing all right, buddy?
Great!
All right, cool. After the U.S. Army esports team drew the ill eye of the internet for saying "ooh-woo" on Maine, more people have been realizing that, hey, yeah, maybe it is a little weird and uncomfortable for the Army to be using video games as a recruiting tool, thereby targeting a potentially even younger demographic than when they would just send a human recruiter to your high school. In an article for The Nation, Jordan Uhl notes a variety of odd things about the U.S. Army esports team and their online presence. For example, their Twitter account, which hasn't tweeted since a few days after the uwu thing, links to goarmy.com/esports, which is a page that says, "Register to win," and asks the user's information, but absolutely nowhere does it say what they could win. Plus, part of the form requires you to nominate which branch of the Army interests you and says you allow a recruiter to contact you. According to Uhl's article, a bot in the Army Esports Twitch chat says that users could win an Xbox Elite Series 2 controller and links to a similar page with no indication of when such a draw would even happen, assuming it's real. The Twitch account itself, which hasn't streamed in over 7 days, unusual for them based on previous broadcasts, had a similar issue to the Discord server we reported on previously. That being, a lot of users getting banned from chat for anything from obviously baiting the mods by directly asking about the US Army's history of war crimes, to asking why the Army even has an esports team. And to the latter, the chat moderators maintain that they are not being paid, this is all on their own time, and that it is not a recruiting tool. Though as you can see from this actual chat room exchange, with extraneous user comments removed, it definitely is. In fact, information on the esports team is freely available on the U.S. Army Recruiting Command website, as it is part of the Marketing and Engagement Brigade. And the site does say that esports team members are not themselves trained as recruiters, they just facilitate recruiters contacting you. Also, this isn't an extracurricular bonus thing. Soldiers get assigned to the esports team. Some even get specifically transferred to Fort Knox to join it, where they get the same pay as anyone else at their rank. So the chat mod's repeated insistence that this is something they're doing just to celebrate a shared love of gaming and that they're not being paid for this is a lie. This is their job in the Army. To be clear, we don't have a problem with individuals serving in the armed forces, or even those working for the esports team specifically. We have many people among our own viewers, even our own moderation team, who are both active duty and veterans. But seeing the Army of the United States come into the video arcade, sit down backwards on a chair and say, "What's up, fellow gamers who wants to be friends with the military?" apparently makes a lot of people uncomfortable. And judging by their Twitter and Twitch silence, they're realizing that.
What do you think the Canadian Armed Forces would do with their esports team?
Well, what are their obvious stereotypes?
I'm given to understand that an enlisted friend of mine once stood guard on base overnight with no firearm and was told if someone didn't identify themselves, he could retaliate by yelling "bang."
I see.
Like yelling it really loud.
So maybe they should play that WarioWare game where you had to scream into your DS.
Coming up, YouTuber Super Lewis 64 used a Microsoft Kinect and a trampoline to make a motion control interface for Super Mario 64, and almost passed out when he remembered how much Mario jumps. Turns out it's a lot, and you can't half A press on a trampoline.
Hey Heather, what's up? Enjoy these sounds. I don't know. Because I was trying to, the sounds that are in there now, I was trying to describe what I had in my head. Yeah. I was like, I don't know. I was like, like plip, plip, pop noises. And she was like, I'll see what I can find. And I'm like, I'm not explaining myself. Hang on. So I sent a voice text and I was like that. And she was like, "Oh, great!" and just grabbed that and used it.
She told me that she had gone to look, and she's like, "There's nothing out there that's as good as what he did, so I'm just using those."
So hopefully these mics will be better.